Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 78 of the GVGCast, and happy Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Spider-Man 2, and Sonic Superstars Week. I'm your host for today, Ash Paulson, and I'm joined by my good friends and GVG partners, Steve Bowling and Derrick Bittner, who, as you can see, is in the bathtub this week. We have not forgotten about all your super kind donations. We are doing those bathtub streams. And actually, on that note, Derrick, I want to start with you, man. How are you feeling right now in the bathtub?
A bit wet.
A little bit wet. I would hope so. I'd be a little concerned if you weren't.
At the moment.
A little. Ooh, already getting. It's not even the post show yet, you guys. We're already getting spicy. Hopefully you're not too uncomfortable yet. I know that by the end of our almost 2-hour show a couple of weeks ago, I was cramping. I was not in a good place.
If I'm going to stay in camera, I cannot lean back whatsoever. So I have my shoulder set up here. So I am just sort of hanging out.
All right. Well, we're gonna coast on through the show as fast as we can then for you, man. Obviously, everybody, thank you for being here. We took a week off last week for various reasons. The crew just was pulled away in various directions, but we're back now. Not a moment too soon. It, of course, is the big week, but we're going to get to that. Steve, my man, you have been on vacation in the UK lately. Yeah, I want to hear how that was. How you doing, man? Are you feeling better and refreshed after getting back?
It was such a lovely trip. I had so much fun. You know, I've never been. I went to the country, out of the country once, to Denmark for a GX video a long time ago, and that was the only time I left. So this was my first time leaving America of my own accord and for pleasure rather than business, and it was everything I hoped for. I mean, you know, I went to London for a few days. I hung out there. I tried all the amazing local food and coffee, took in sights,
nice.
Did the touristy stuff. I went to see John, and I met his son, Freddie, which was the highlight of the trip. I got to hold Freddie, and he smiled at me, which was just awesome. I got to meet Amelia, who is the bravest little girl I've ever seen in my life. Like, we were literally walking from dinner. So John, Roxy, myself, and John's kids, we all went out to dinner, and if you're not familiar with where John lives, it's not rural, but it's not a big city either. And so in between the restaurant and John's house was a park with almost zero lighting. Like, it was pitch black, and this little girl was just booking it through the park, like way miles ahead of all of us, to the point that John was having to chase her down because we couldn't see her.
Jeez.
She is just absolutely fearless. But yeah, it was great seeing John's beautiful family. It was really nice, getting to hang out with everybody. I saw a whole lot more people there, spent some time in York, spent some time in a small town called Thirsk, which is gorgeous. Just really nice. Like, you kind of don't appreciate how quiet other countries are until you go to one. So
true.
Yeah, London.
So true.
London is the size of New York, but is the volume level of like a small town here in America.
Yeah. Isn't John's family unit just the most wholesome, adorable, wonderful family? Like, I got to see and spend time with him too last week when I went to the UK for our good friend Aaron's wedding. And Freddie hadn't been born yet, so I have not yet met Freddie, but I got to spend time with him and Roxy and Amelia, and it was just the most, they were playing together, it was just the most wholesome thing. And it's funny as you talk about how brave Amelia is, because John was recently telling us about how spiders make her laugh. Yep. I'm terrified of spiders, but she's like, spiders! She had like a big spider in her room apparently randomly, and she was trying to find it. It was like scuttling under dolls and clothes and stuff, and it was apparently making her laugh. All delightful, and I would have been torching that room. I would have been setting it ablaze, because I can't do it. So she's already braver than I am, and she's what, 4? 3?
Yeah, 3.
No, not even
almost.
3, because
not even 3
are a day apart. So.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, so hats off to her. I couldn't have a spider in my room and sleep in it. It's just not going to happen. But so I'm glad, man. It sounds like you had a great time. Both on your own in the UK and with our compatriot John.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a wonderful trip. Can't wait to go back. You and I will both be hitting the UK again for their wedding. So
we will be. Next year. I'm looking forward to it. And yes, but something else I'm looking forward to is shouting out our amazing, incredible sponsor, The Game Orb. The Game Orb is a YouTube channel and Twitch channel that brings commentary and gameplay footage for the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X gaming systems. His current goal is to not only reach affiliate status, but unfortunately, so TwitchCon is this week. He's there right now, so please go say hi to him if you're there. He's awesome, and he's been supporting us from the very beginning. He didn't quite make affiliate in time, but that's okay. He's still going to make it because you're going to go support him, and we believe in you all. We believe in the GVG family to go support him and make sure he reaches affiliate status as soon as possible, and certainly in time for TwitchCon next year. So please go check out all of his content, both on YouTube and Twitch. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. He has been showing us all the love from the very beginning, and we want all that love and more turned right back around on him. So please go follow him and we've got links to both of his channels in our description. So please definitely go show him all the love. And if you're in Vegas for TwitchCon, say hi. He's there, and he's super cool. Also, we have some patron birthday shout-outs. R-Man celebrated their birthday on Friday the 13th, so happy birthday to you. Yeah, happy belated birthday, R-Man. I'm sorry we didn't have a show for you last week, but we're making up for it now. Also, happy birthday to Aramis, who celebrated their birthday on Tuesday the 17th, so happy belated birthday to you. Also, happy belated birthday to Kristen10 2025, who celebrated their birthday on Wednesday the 18th. So happy birthday to you. And then finally, happy birthday to our good friend, Super Dank Awesome Unicorn Guy, who is celebrating their birthday today.
Happy
birthday. Yeah. Hope you're spending lots of time playing video games, 3 particular video games in general, which I think we should go ahead and just kind of start talking about right now, because I think we all have thoughts. Steve, you reviewed Spider-Man 2 for us.
I did.
And the review, you did an amazing job, man, and it's been out for about a week now. A week on, I don't think the other two of us have played it yet, but a week on, when you look back on your time with Spider-Man 2, are you still feeling as hot on it as you were at review time?
I absolutely am. So Spider-Man 2 is currently standing at the top of my list for Game of the Year for 2023. It is...
Right.
You absolutely have to play it if you have a PS5. If you don't have a PS5 and you're interested in getting one, this is the game to buy it for. John and I, when we were talking about our experiences, and obligatory, I have to mention Sony provided us with codes for the game. Thank you, Sony. But when we were playing it, John mentioned that it was an open world game where everything was so well crafted that it felt linear. And that's a really good way to describe it. Like, all the set pieces in that game, even the side quest stuff, is so meticulously crafted that it never feels tacked on in a way that a lot of side content does in other open world games. But not only that, it's just, it's a gorgeous game, which isn't surprising. Insomniac has been holding the PS5 up this whole generation. But this is the first, aside from Ratchet and Clank, this is like the really first like AAA game where they've been able to ditch the PS4. I said previously that God of War Ragnarok could have been a better game if they didn't have to support the PS4. And now we're seeing what this console is truly capable of with Spider-Man 2. So still an amazing game. Can't wait for New Game Plus to come out for it so that I can play it again, because even just the other night while I was waiting for Sonic Superstars to download, which I have... We'll get to that in a minute, but
we'll get to that. Yeah,
Sonic Superstars. I just went back into Spider-Man and solved randomly generated crimes, because I was like, I still just love being in this city and fighting enemies and everything about it. So yeah, I'm still real hot on it. I can't wait for a second playthrough, but that's gonna have to wait because there are other games to play now.
Well, and on the note of what you just said, Steve, our Splubber sent us a super chat for $1.99. Thank you so much, Splubber, saying, Steve, your review got me to buy a PS5 this week.
Hey!
So there you go. You sold Splubber on a PS5 with your awesome, amazing, spectacular, incredible Spider-Man 2 review. And yes, all those adjectives were on purpose.
As much as I love that, it was a team effort. I may have written and recorded the words, but Brandon edited it. John provided some input during the drafting phase. Daniel did the thumbnail. So, it takes a community to make these. So, it wasn't just me.
Indeed.
I'm glad that people liked the review, but it was definitely a team effort.
Absolutely. And speaking of team efforts, Derrick, you and I double-teamed Sonic Superstars earlier this week. We got a couple of codes from Sega. Thank you very much, Sega, for providing those to us. And you and I played the game and finished it over the weekend and then recorded kind of a co-review discussion about our thoughts on it. And if you haven't watched that yet, don't watch it right now because you're here watching GVGcast. But after you're done, go watch that if you're curious about our thoughts on Sonic Superstars. So you and I already have our thoughts out there, Derrick, and you and I had a lot to say because we went for almost an hour.
It didn't even feel like an hour. It's like, oh, it was probably like,
didn't.
what, 30, 40 minutes?
No, we were going through that discussion at Sonic Speed, and I definitely have some thoughts. But again, our thoughts are out there. So, Steve, I once again turn it to you. I know that you've been playing the game on Switch, and you've run into some issues, it sounds like, that Derrick and I did not on PS5.
Yeah. So, I bought a copy of Sonic Superstars in London because the flight from London home is like 11 hours. So I was like, that's a good chunk of time that I could be playing the game and playing through it. And I pledged to play all the way through it on my flight, and I did. And I didn't love the experience. I will say that Sonic Superstars looks passable on Switch, but what really, really bugs me is that it has a lot of bugs and a lot of frame drops. And those are really, I tolerate frame drops in certain games, but in a game where the whole point is to go as fast as you can, having the game just seize up, even for a millisecond or two, really damages that experience. And it happens often on the Switch version of Sonic Superstars. I mean, like, all the time. In fact, I have a video clip where I used the clone ability, whatever that one is that fills the screen with multiple clones of yourself. And, I'm going to sneeze. I'm allergic to criticizing Sonic. I'm sorry. But the screen fills up with clones, and I'm running, and it drops down to like 15 frames per second, and it stays there consistently for the whole time that power is going. And stuff like that happens all too often in Superstars on the Switch, and it was really disappointing. I was telling you this, Ash, before the show, but during the final boss, like, the game actively hitches on Switch.
That's not good.
So I don't think it's giving away too much to say that in a portion of the final boss encounter, he starts destroying the floor. And every time he would destroy a section of the floor, the Switch version would hitch up.
God. Oh, no.
And you know that there's obstacles coming your way while he does that. And the problem is when the game catches up to that slowdown, those obstacles can just hit you and you're dead. And so it was immensely frustrating to play that because I know that would be a pretty cake boss encounter on PS5.
I wouldn't say cake, but it would be a lot easier. I don't know. If you value your sanity, I don't know if I recommend that you go for 100% in the story mode. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to go into spoiler territory here, but suffice to say, what you've played, it's not the end. There's more.
Yeah.
But if you can even playing it on PS5 with no frame drops, you go check our review discussion. Check out the spoiler part of our review discussion. You'll see what I mean.
The quick way to put it is there are good levels and good level ideas. The bosses, for the most part, suck and bring down the experience.
The bosses are definitely the low point, in my opinion.
I could see that. I didn't have a single boss encounter where I was like, oh, nice, I like this. And I would say that it's a game that has potential, but it feels like it could have used another year. Another year of development and polish. To really take some aspects of it completely back to the drawing board. The bonus stages, in my opinion, are also some of the worst I've ever played in a Sonic game.
Not
and
a fan
from a design perspective. Stages. Yeah,
don't like them at all. Yeah,
I struggle with the Fifth Emerald one for ages, and then I've finally got the feel of it after going through all that. Got 6 and 7 first try, no issue.
Yep, 5 hung me up too. It goes up and down, and it's just didn't love that one. That one I had to retry several times. Eventually, I had to settle for switching from Amy, who I did my whole playthrough as, to Knuckles because I could get to the ring more easily as Knuckles. And I was like, I don't.
That's what I did with Tails. I just used Tails to get back to any rings I needed to.
Yeah. Either way, I think it. Okay, hold on. Is it a spoiler to talk about? We have a video on Superforms.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go into details.
I'm not going to go into details, but Sega, come on. It's been 20, 30 years. Like, can somebody other than Sonic get a good Superform? Like, please.
Yeah. I want them to bring back Hyper Knuckles and Turbo Tails and all that. Yeah, for some reason Sonic Team were super against bringing back the Hyper Forms. I don't get it. They were so cool, and they just won't do it, and it's really a shame.
Yeah.
It is really, and you know what's also a shame? The biggest sin in a Sonic game for me is an inconsistent soundtrack, and it is once again inconsistent, thanks to some Senoi the Hedgehog 4 style tracks, which I'm just not a fan of. But the stuff that's good is really good, but the stuff that isn't, not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? I think we can all I think we all agree that there are some ups and downs of Sonic Superstars, but I think we're all playing another 2D platformer that just came out today that I think we can also all agree is absolutely spectacular. Guys, am I wrong in assuming that you are both having as amazing a time as I am with Super Mario Brothers Wonder?
Yes. Oh my God.
It is so unbelievably charming, isn't it? And don't worry, we're not going to go into like late game. None of us are even in the late game yet. We've only had it for like a day or two.
I've only beaten World 1, so that's all I can say. But even that's just enough to like, oh, I see what they're doing here, and I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so unbelievably charming. Every orifice of that game is just oozing with charm and cuteness and love and polish. And I mean, it's exactly what you would have expected if you played the demos at PAX and such, like Daniel and I did, or if you play the demos at any GameStop or Best Buy. It's just lovely. It is so lovely, and I'm thinking about it right now. One of my favorite experiences so far has been the very first secret exit that I found. It's just the very first one, and it gave me that Super Mario World vibe of like going beyond the boundaries of a level to where you shouldn't be able to go to find the secret exit, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I could have done that much sooner, but Kai was watching me play the entire time, and he's been a big Mario fan. So what he's been doing is after each level, he'll pick another character for me to play and want me to see that. So it just happened on that level, he wanted me to play as Yoshi.
Okay.
And that doesn't get you what you need to do.
Oh, I can see why that would make sense. Okay, so you have to look at Steve being a great dad back there. Light round of applause. I don't want to blow out anyone's headphones, but light round of applause for Steve being an awesome dad back there. But yeah, so I can see why you wouldn't. Yeah, and it's probably not. You don't want to get water on your mic. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I can see why playing as Yoshi would have an issue there. But yeah, it's just this is really giving me major Super Mario World vibes and the level design and the way the secret exits are hidden, and I could not have asked for anything more than that. I've wanted that vibe of Super Mario World to come back to 2D Mario for so long now. And New Super Mario Brothers, you tried, and it got a little bit of the way there, but it's not like it is here. It had the kind of
match, but this sort of goes all the way.
Yeah, it really does.
I'm keeping it extremely vague because I don't want to spoil anything, because a lot of this is just fun to discover.
Yeah.
And that's I haven't tried multiplayer yet or anything like that. It's just, man, I love just playing each level, seeing what they'll come up with, and
yeah.
Yeah.
and it's just such a pretty game too, right? The backgrounds are so vibrant, the colors really
the animations. If you've not watched John's comparison video yet, I have to emphasize checking it out, because it's more than just these graphics are better than Mario U. No, it's the animations, the load times, everything is being compared there. We probably need to get a better title to convey that, because it's not just
probably good idea.
These graphics are better. It's everything. And seeing it side by side like that, it's pretty wild.
Right. Totally agree. And we actually have some Mario Wonder related news stories to go through in the news portion of the show this week. But we'll get to that. And to give Steve a little bit of time, let's go ahead and read out a few super chats, and then we'll get on to a little bit of a grab bag of Mario Wonder related news. So first off, we've got Disney Duncan with $5. Thank you so much, Duncan. Nice to have you back. You had an MRI a couple of weeks ago. Head's gonna bug me, but you'll live. But you're gonna live, no tumors. Well, that's the most important part. Good. Take some painkillers, and I hope you get through your headaches, but it's just a relief to hear that you're going to be okay. So thank you for sharing that wonderful news with us. Oh, man, Leo Flo with oh, sorry, no, wrong one. Sorry, Rec BCQ with $2. Thank you so much. I've gotten multiple hugs today, and I'm happy. Well, any day, as long as you consent to them, any day with lots of hugs is better than any day without lots of hugs. So we're very happy, and we're sending good vibes-filled internet hugs to you as well. Next up is Fangs the Wolf with $10. Thank you so much. Saying it's weird that we have entered the timeline of a gritty rated M-rated Rayman, Sony owning Bungie, and Microsoft owning Crash Bandicoot. It is a timeline. That is for sure.
Yep.
It is one of the timelines of all time, and yeah, it's wild. So thank you very much for that, Fank. Oh, go ahead,
From my
Derek.
understanding, because there's just a comment here from Yotam saying that how he's a villain in it, and he's angry he's not getting new games. That's not why he's angry. I've not watched it myself, but I know John has watched it because Rayman was
Oh,
in it. And Rayman is actually much more of a nuanced character in what they're going for with him. He's not just the villain because he hasn't got a new game. It's a whole like character arc for him that's apparently pretty good.
What did I
that's
miss?
kind of what I've heard. I haven't watched the show in question. It's randomly enough, it's the Blood Dragon show on
Yeah,
Netflix,
it's
which is
just like let's
wild.
pop in all the Ubisoft stuff.
It's so weird, but it
But
looks like
same
it's actually pretty
producer
cool.
as Castlevania, so there you go.
You know, I mean, you can't go wrong there because I'm in the middle of watching Castlevania Nocturne right now, and man,
I
it
still
is
need to
so
watch
good.
more. I've only seen the first episode.
Oh, it's good stuff, man. We're on episode
I
four,
know,
I
but I
think.
can't. There's only so much time in a day, and I can't watch it while I'm watching Kai. He's
Of
like,
course
that's
not.
not really appropriate for him.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Next up, we've got $2 from our good friend, or $2 more from our good friend Rec BCQ. Thank you. And you're playing Super Mario Brothers Wonder. It fun, much fun. Yes, indeed. It really, really is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Elsie's back.
Yeah. My mom came by because Avery wanted to go to my mom's house, and so they kind of.
Oh, okay.
I'm still not used to that, living so close to my family that they can just pop in.
I love that.
So she came to get Avery, and I asked her if she could go grab another copy of Wonder from the store. I was like,
Oh,
I'll send you money. I was like, but I don't want her leaving with mine. I need to play it.
oh,
Um,
good call. We were actually giving you a not too loud a round of applause, so as not to blow anyone's headphones out, but giving you a light round of applause for being such an awesome dad in the background there. We
Oh,
were,
thank you.
yeah, of course. So we were just talking about how much we all love Wonder, going into some super chats, and then we figured we'd go right into our grab bag of Mario Wonder news stories. And you know what? On that note, let's cut off the super chats for now. Don't worry, of course, all of you incredibly generous people out there who have sent us super chats, I will read the rest out throughout the rest of the show. But for now, let's keep on talking about Mario Wonder, and we've got a few things to talk about. One thing I'd like to touch on is that we've had all of Wonder's new voice actors gradually revealed. We've got new voice actors for Mario and Luigi, Daisy, Nabbit, and of course Prince Florian, who is an original character to Wonder. But what's really cool about this, and I've seen other people mention this, is that they're all relatively unknown actors. They're not big names. They're relatively unknown talent that
I'd
Nintendo
say the
went
biggest,
to.
and the fact that I've at least heard of him before is Don Bennett as Nabbit,
Okay, yeah.
because she's the new voice of Aegis in Persona 3 Reload.
Oh, okay. You know, I knew I recognized her name, and I couldn't remember where, but yes, from Persona 3 Reload, that makes sense. So yes, we've
Hmm.
got Don Bennett, and we've got Kevin Afghani as Mario and Luigi, and we've got Giselle Fernandez as Daisy, and then we've got, let's see, for Prince Florian, it is Caitlin Elizabeth, whose username is Boobs McBallrog, which is great.
Oh,
Great
I've heard of.
username.
Oh, I didn't realize that was her. I know Boobs McBalrog. I've heard of her.
Oh, I know, boobs. But yeah, I think it's really cool that Nintendo are mining, not the big names of video game voice acting for their brand new Mario game. I think it's really neat to see them give smaller talent a chance, and that should happen
I
more
honestly
often.
didn't realize Daisy was different. It's such a remarkably close performance.
It is. She sounds so similar, right?
Oh, I didn't know they
Hmm.
changed her. Yeah, I
Yeah.
played as her for a few stages in Wonder today, and I didn't clock a difference at all.
She's the one to me that sounds the most similar to
Yeah,
Daisy's previous.
I was
Yeah.
I was going to say you could definitely hear the difference in performance between I haven't memorized the new guy's name yet, but between him and Martinet, you could definitely hear the differences. I actually like them though.
Me too.
No,
I mean,
they're good, but I can definitely hear more of a difference in Luigi than Mario.
I haven't played Luigi
Uh-huh.
yet, but yeah, I think part of me thinks that this is for a couple of reasons. One, obviously Martinet is a much older man than he was when he started playing Mario.
Right.
And with eyes toward the future, they have to do something, right? They have to it's better than waiting for the grim alternative, right? Of like, hey, we suddenly
Mhm.
have to replace Mario.
Right.
But the other side of that too is that I can't help but feel, and this is probably going to tie into another story we're going to discuss later, that Nintendo seeing the Mario movie and seeing the writing on the wall knows that Mario is about to be dragged kicking and screaming into the fully voiced era of video gaming, in which he actually delivers lines and talks and is characterized rather than as being kind of an avatar for gameplay itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, on that note, it is something that's been really striking to me as I play through Mario Wonder and I hear these talking flowers. It is weird to have, of course we're all used to the voice clips of Mario and Friends, but it is really weird to hear fully voiced spoken lines, like full sentences in a Mario game as you play through it, and that of course comes from the talking flowers. But if you give people enough time, people will find a way to ruin anything. And in this case, that is so true, because Nintendo have already started to go after modders that have started adding cursing to Mario Wonder's talking flowers, making these cute little flowers start cursing instead of saying wholesome things. And Nintendo are specifically going after them, and I don't know what they were expecting. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for the 15 seconds of internet lulls to?
I mean,
I don't.
Hilarious.
You can do it, but you just kind of keep it in the underground so you don't make it obvious. But obviously, people talk about it because, they're cursing.
I actually thought that it would be fun to try to insert video clip, but nothing bad, nothing nasty or weird. Just as a fun way to try it. But I'm not going to pirate the game, and I feel like maybe if you
you just bought it twice, Steve. So there you go.
That's right, Nintendo. Exactly. I should get one free pirated copy at this point. but I feel like Nintendo, or I feel like uploading mods for a game that isn't out yet is just asking for Nintendo's ire. They literally don't like it when you mod games they haven't been selling for decades. So what made you think that they were going to let you take their marquee AAA platformer and do what you want with it and do it publicly? Like that to me is hilarious. Like Nintendo is the one company in gaming that above all others you do not want to mess with, because they will come for you, and they've proven it time and again.
Yep.
Now, it doesn't sound as though they're taking legal action yet, but they have been getting the accounts, post the social media accounts posting these clips of, modded versions of the game silenced, essentially. And so, if you value your social media presence, maybe don't do it. Maybe just don't do it anyway, obviously. But yeah.
I mean, one of the things that really bugs me about this is that Nintendo, they're very litigious, but at the same time, Nintendo of America in particular has a proven track record of like erring very much on the side of caution where it comes to the intelligence of the consumer base. Like they are like, oh crap, we're not going to release this new Nintendo 3DS, the small one, because people will get confused because there's another one that's bigger and they won't know what the difference is other than the obvious physical size. And so I guarantee you someone at NOA is like, they're going to think we put cussing flowers in our game. We need to scrub this from the internet.
Knowing people and how they see some things and how it can be seen out of context, I could believe people believing that.
Yeah, I could. All it takes is a 5-minute scroll on Twitter and you're like, people will believe anything. Like, I feel bad for the people that do community notes on Twitter now. I'm like, they just see the worst of society all day, every day.
Yeah, and that's so true. And again, it's like, what were you expecting to happen if you were going to try to do this, especially with leaked copies of their new marquee AAA game? Of course, Nintendo were going to go after you. And it's like, can't some things be pure? And I say this, Steve, you know me. I say this as somebody with the most potty-minded sense of humor of anyone you'll probably ever meet. But can't Mario just stay pure? Can't we just have talking flowers that say fun things?
YouTube?
I know. I'm asking a rhetorical question. Of course nothing can stay pure. But geez, it wasn't even out yet when this stuff started happening. So I will see if it matters. We'll see if I'm sure people will keep doing it despite that, just for the lulz, and using burner accounts just to get this stuff out there.
I personally, just kind of taking it back to the flowers in general, I love them. I think they add such a fun dimension.
People worried about they're annoying, but honestly, I'm kind of fine with it.
I like it.
Well, I also like that whoever did the voicing for the flowers is pretty great delivery. And for two, I like that they are not just dumb. They don't repeat the same stuff. Like, that one in the very first level where he's like, oh, that Goomba looks so serene. And then you kill it and he's like, now then. Okay, yeah, it was just like, I love that Nintendo factored in the fact that you were definitely going to kill that Goomba right at the start, even though it was asleep.
I left that Goomba alone. I was like, he's sleeping.
I didn't.
Mario's not Kirby. He's not going to destroy these Goombas that are just having a peaceful time.
Right. No, I did not leave it alone. And then the flower will actually say, well, okay then. Just like, okay, well, oh, okay then. One of my favorite, and this was shown in the pre-release marketing, so this isn't a spoiler, but my favorite flower so far is the one just kind of pondering what Goombas taste like. Like, that's really, really dark. If you let yourself think about it too much, it's really dark, but it's delivered in such a way that's just really funny and charming, and I can't wait. I find myself going out of my way, even if I know there's nothing up there, no coins, no flower coins. If there's a flower up somewhere that I have to put a little effort in to get to, I go up there just to see what that flower is going to say.
Yep. Yeah. I love there was one that with like a seemingly impossible jump, and I managed to make it. And he's like, "Hey, you found me," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yep. I mean, I got that one too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
also like that if you if for the thing we were talking about before actually kind of hints. It's like, oh, you came this way.
Yep. Yeah, there was one that I don't want to give away the solution to anyone, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. There was one flower that said something. I'm like, I wonder if I do this, and something happened, and I'm like, whoa, this is cool. So you also do have to really pay attention to what the flowers say, because sometimes they're hinting at something that you wouldn't necessarily guess otherwise.
The one that I've heard reused a couple of times now, which I don't mind, is they'll be like, "Don't you feel like you're missing something? Like you're missing something?" And I'm like, damn it. Now I need to start exploring around this area to find what they're talking about.
You can definitely tell that 2D Mario has really benefited in this instance from fresh, young, fresh development blood, right? This is, they've gone on record saying, a new team of younger developers were responsible for a lot of the ideas we're seeing in Wonder. And man, as we play through it, I think that is more evident than ever. This feels fresher than 2D Mario has been really ever since Super Mario World, in my opinion. If you don't count Yoshi's Island, it's different, but
it's nice because Nintendo's going back to the way they were for a long time in their early days, where they just took out new talent and just always scoping out new talent and from the local colleges and seeing what kind of interesting jobs they had when they applied. Like, oh, like Ayanuma was into woodcutting. That was his whole thing, and then he got interested in video games, and now he's shepherding Zelda. You never know how it'll work out and what they can bring to the table. And we're finally seeing that with a new generation, which is awesome.
Yeah. And of course, we've been, talking about how incredibly expressive the animations are, and that brings me to this interview is back from late August, so this isn't super recent. But there's an interview that NPR did with Nintendo about Super Mario Wonder's development and how they spent more development costs on animation than ever before. But one of the other things that came up in this interview is how Nintendo wanted players to feel like they're experiencing in some way the Mario Brothers movie. And Steve, because you mentioned this earlier, as you were saying, Nintendo must feel like they're, no matter what, they're going to have to drag Mario kicking and screaming into, this age of animation, fully voiced lines. Do you feel as though, as we've been playing through, that they have succeeded in do you feel as though you're experiencing some sort of vibe from the Mario movie as you play through Wonder with all these incredible new animations
I don't think it's necessarily fair to say I'm experiencing the vibe of the movie, but I do think I'm feeling its influence, if that makes sense.
I guess it's more of what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because it's very clearly, and this is one of the things that I love about Wonder, is that it has an art style that feels playful and is distinctly different from existing Mario media, including the movie. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel sterile in the way that New Super Mario Brothers felt, and it doesn't have that Illumination thumbprint on it that the movie so clearly has.
Right.
I think that it is its own thing, separate. And I come back to this. What really bugs me is that the art style to me is the number one draw of the game. It is a beautiful game. It looks incredible in motion. It looks, every still looks like a painting, and then you have this like really drab comparatively, hero art for the game. Like the title screen, I'm like, this does not evoke the same sense of joy that the game itself. Like, brings to the player. Like Mario looks so safe here, and then when you start the game, you're like, he's bursting with personality. Every frame of animation is tells you something, and
it might be a transitional thing where it's like, it's safe, it's what you're used to, go ahead. Because I've, being in a house full of kids, I've had a couple of these kids say it looks weird, it looks odd, they're not used to Mario looking this way, so it's throwing them off a bit. They're still interested in trying it out, but it's one of those things where they're not immediately drawn to it because it's so different from what they know. So I think it's a transition in that way.
I get that,
by having the artwork be that way.
I agree with you though, Steve. It is weird to see this incredible new animation and art style in Wonder, but then see them rely on the same, the usual CG renders that they've been using for Mario Key art forever now, right? It's very the renders themselves are very standard, and in terms of what we've seen from Mario Key art for years and years and years now. And it would have been nicer to see something, I think, a Key art that kind of reflects the newer and more vibrant animation and art style that we see in the game itself. Clearly, it's not having a chilling effect on the game because it's reviewing so incredibly well. We can only assume that it's going to do gangbusters. I'm sure it will. But yeah, that's a perfectly fair criticism, I think. And it really is a game that you have to see and play yourself to really experience just how beautiful it is. And I did. It's funny, of course, I was able to get it yesterday. I was able to get it a day early, thankfully, but I had to be away from home all day because, of course, the timing lined up that way. So I made sure to bring my Switch with me, and as you would imagine, it looks so good on the Switch OLED screen. It's stupid how pretty it looks on that screen. But then it looks just as amazing, if not more, on my giant TV at home. This is a game that's going to look good no matter where you play it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've had a lot of fun with the game. I'm as soon as the show's over, I'm going to dive back in. My nephew got it this morning and has already beat it, so it can't be too long. I think I'm about halfway through now, but I'm just having a blast with it. Like, I'm trying to dig in and find every little thing that this game has to offer. It's very rare that I find a game I want 100%. It's very rare that two games I want 100% come out in the same day.
It's rare that you want 100% a Mario game because it's not usually a decent reward for it, but I kind of want to do it.
Yeah.
It depends on the game. I think some Mario games have really good rewards for 100%, like a really cool final level or a really cool special world, but I think it depends on the game, but I have to assume that with Wonder, though, because they've gone so fully all in on bringing back that authentic Mario World experience of discovering the world map and discovering all these cool secret exits that lead to different parts of the world map, I have to assume that the reward for 100%, like finding whatever special worlds are out there, is going to be really worth it. I hope it will be, but I have to assume it will be in this game.
We'll see.
Yeah. In the Mario wheelhouse, on that note, our next news story has to do with Princess Peach Showtime, and this was from last week. This is a news story I had loaded up for last week before we had to cancel the show. But Steve, you and I seem to have divergent opinions on this, so I want to dive into this really quick. Yeah, so if you haven't already heard, Nintendo very quietly, very stealthily updated Princess Peach Showtime's box art and changed a few things. They changed Peach's render, they changed the way her face looks a little bit, they changed Kung Fu Peach's facial expression entirely, and after comparing and contrasting a few times, I actually think these are changes for the better, but you disagree, right, Steve?
I do. I think that, we were just talking about this. We were talking about the effect of the Mario movie on the Mario games, and I feel like this is the one place where I actually see it, and I don't like it. So I'm fine with Kung Fu Peach. Kung Fu Peach looking aggressive as she's literally doing a jump kick, great. I'm here for that. But the changes to Peach's face on the box art, like the hero image of Peach, I don't dig that at all. That is movie Peach that I'm seeing. And while I don't dislike movie Peach, I don't want her in my video games. Like, I still think Nintendo, the way they designed Peach is the Peach that I like. And maybe it's like my old man yelling at Cloud moment, but I didn't think there was anything wrong with Peach. I didn't think there was anything wrong with her face, and changing it to look more like Illumination Peach, just I don't love that.
I feel like that face, because I'm more on the side of Ash, where I feel like her original face is hard to get expressive. You just think back amongst all the Mario games, and you just can't see or get that expressive or talk. And then you look at that what this art style does for Kung Fu Peach, and you're like, oh damn, she looks awesome. She looks interesting. She looks fun. Um, Having that extra personality, and it's also the thing is they've updated the box art, but does it affect the game? Is this reverse Mario Wonder, where she's expressive in the game, has that new art style, but it's not in the game itself?
Oh yeah,
it's a way to get people like kids that would be like, I liked Princess Peach in the Mario movie, I want her game, and hey, she looks just like it in there, and then they get into it, and it's traditional Peach.
See, you know what, like where I land on it, kind of like what you were saying, Derrick. It's funny, Steve, because I completely agree with everything you said in terms of all the reasons why you don't like it as much. I agree that those are all the reasons, but those are the same reasons that I like it more, because even though I don't want all the Mario movie characters to look more in the game like they do in the movie, Peach is the one exception. I loved movie Peach so much, and I agree with what Derrick is saying. Like, you don't get as much
characterization or the aesthetic, because I love the characterization of her. I don't.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
necessarily
I think
love
I like both.
There's something about Illumination's faces, and this isn't strictly a Peach thing. Like if Mario looked like Illumination Mario, I would be upset.
Me too.
So I just want to clarify that this does not extend only to Princess Peach. I just don't like that art style that Illumination uses, but the movie is so good that I don't mind it, if that makes sense.
No, I hear you.
Whereas with this, I feel like I understand what they may be doing, because it's a weird, almost reverse brand recognition thing that it feels like they're doing. Like they feel like they're going to cast a wider net and get more people who maybe only know Mario from the movie. But yeah, I find Peach's Illumination face, the shape of her eyes, the shape of her nose, the shape of her mouth to be really off-putting for some reason. Whatever the reason, I just don't. she looks. I mean, regular Princess Peach doesn't look human. Let's be real. Like but somehow she looks even less human with the Illumination face, and
that's so funny because I feel the opposite. Like I feel like it goes back to what Derrick was saying. I feel like with the Peach we've known up to now, her facial design, it's hard to make her look expressive in a lot of different ways. Whereas with
Mario Strikers, like any of the Mario Strikers games where Mario characters get the most expressive, and it's still like not as much.
Whereas with this more Illumination style design of Peach's face, it's easier to make her look confident. She right now in the original box art, she's just smiling, which is fine, but she's kind of always smiling unless she's in distress, in which she's like, oh no, but it's really either smiling or oh no. With this one, she looks confident. She looks like she's the hero of her own game, and yes, she looks more like movie Peach, but I don't know. For me, she's the one exception where I am happy to have the design look more like the movie version than the game version, because I agree, I don't want Mario and Luigi to look like their movie versions in the games. I never want that to happen. But with Peach, it works for me. I like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to agree to disagree. So
that's totally fine, man.
I can see you guys going in circles for a while.
No, it's totally good. No, that's why I want to just get into it a little bit. But yeah,
to be fair, it doesn't change my view of the game in the slightest. Sure. Like I can't wait to play this game. It's gonna be dope. Somebody's going to print me out a box art that looks like something I enjoy. So I'll just wait till that happens and replace the cover. But yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's a minor gripe. It's still going to be a really cool game. And I agree with Derrick that I doubt they're going to change her in-game model at all.
I don't think so. I agree. Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, we're not going to dig into this too much, but I have a quick question for you guys. Nintendo has announced a Halloween-themed Splatfest for the weekend of the 27th, and I want to know what team we're on. Which would be the best friend? A zombie, a skeleton, or a ghost? Derrick, go.
Skeleton.
All right, why?
They're just cool.
Okay.
It's the song. It's the song.
Okay, fair enough. Steve, what about you, man?
Ghost, all the way. They've helped me in Mario Kart. They're going to keep helping me in Splatoon.
Hey, you know what? I'm actually on Team Ghost right with you. I always loved Casper as a kid. Ghosts seem like they can be friendly. I didn't think about the Mario Kart reason, but that's as good enough a reason for me. I'm on Team Ghost as well.
Choosing booze over dry bones. What a shame.
I know, right? All right. Well, switching gears completely from Nintendo to Mortal Kombat, and more specifically, Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat. You guys have both seen this trailer, right? The reveal trailer for Omni-Man. Steve, obviously we all love fighting games. You are our biggest fighting game fan. How are you feeling about how Omni-Man is looking in Mortal Kombat 1?
I am so hyped for Omni-Man.
Me too.
So if you've never seen Invincible, like it's such a natural fit. It is, you know, Invincible is over the top gory, tons of death, tons of murder, dismemberment, you know, really like it. I wouldn't be surprised if the creators of Omni-Man or of Invincible were huge Mortal Kombat fans before they created the comic. And obviously they show what I imagine are both of Omni-Man's fatalities in the reveal trailer. One of which is pretty simple, but, you know, gets the point across. Like throughout the trailer, they show him just compressing a guy's head, like, and like his eyeball shoots out of his face and such like. And
he's excited, like he looks excited as he's doing it because he's Omni-Man and he's a sociopath. Yeah,
exactly. And then the other one is a riff on the iconic scene from Invincible in which he holds his son in front of a subway train and just, you know what? Look it up.
Yeah.
Unless you have a weak stomach, in which case don't.
Then don't look it up. Yeah.
But they give you a glimpse of what it's going to be like. But he's such a, like, the thing about
it's definitely a bigger focus on his fatalities and brutalities rather than his gameplay, because you don't get to see how much he plays, because the big question with Omni-Man and Homelander, how are they going to make those two different?
Right. That is such a good question. I'm curious.
And it is weird that they're positioning Omni-Man first, and I imagine that has something to do with.
It's not, because Invincible season 2 is coming out soon, like right when he drops.
I was going to say that I thought it might be relating to the new season of The Boys, but that makes sense as well. And maybe that's when Homelander drops, is when we get a new season of The Boys. But because Omni-Man is in canon, in universe, like probably the most powerful character on that whole roster. Like, you know, he like rips through dimensions and murders literally everything. But he has that over the top comical quality about how he carries out his carnage that Mortal Kombat characters seem to enjoy so much. So I'm really excited for him. I think his model is a little bit off in a weird way. Like if you've watched Invincible and you see the Omni-Man trailer, you're like, his face just doesn't translate right all the way over to a photo.
I guess I kind of see what you mean. Yeah.
But I mean, they got the original voice talent. Isn't it the same guy who plays J. Jonah Jameson?
Yeah, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. Yep. Thank you. You know, so you've got an authentic Omni-Man voice coming out of this guy, which I really appreciate, considering the Terminator had a really bad Arnie impersonator. And I think they did the same to Stallone for Rambo. Like, it wasn't Stallone; it was just a guy who.
No, I thought that actually was.
Stallone. Maybe it was. Just really old Stallone. But yeah, either way, I think this is exciting. MK1 has the best guest characters. I've always loved playing as them. I don't know that they're ever going to top RoboCop from MK11, but pretty damn good selections this time around. And I will definitely be playing Omni-Man day one, which I think is only in a couple weeks, isn't it?
I think so. I'm still waiting for John Wick myself. That's the guest character I want to see in Mortal Kombat. Want to see good old Keanu Reeves playing John Wick in Mortal Kombat. I think that could be the sickest thing.
But you know what? I think that would perpetuate one of my primary criticisms against Mortal Kombat 1, and that's that a good chunk of the fatalities are just kind of boring. Like, they end where they feel they should start. And it's like, you know, because the thing about Mortal Kombat is, like, the fatality, like, the act of killing your opponent has lost its kind of sheen, right? It's just, it's Mortal Kombat. You're going to kill the guy.
The lack of murder has lost its sheen.
But it's like, it's like, you know, you have...
I know what you mean.
I like for them to cross over into the over-the-top absurd to where they circle around to becoming funny. You know, like when Quan Chi rips your leg off, but then just starts hammering you with it after you're
Mortal
dead.
Kombat 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Garrus probably has the best fatality.
Rain too. Rain has some amazing fatalities in 1.
Oh man, my favorite currently is General Shao, where he does the T-Hawk from Super Street Fighter 2, where he palms your head and like jumps in the air and spins with you like a basketball, but he spins you so fast all your skin tears off. And then he slams you into the ground so hard that your legs are sticking out and they're twitching. I'm
It's
like,
ridiculous.
that is the right level
Yeah.
of stupid for Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat.
Well, and that's why I'm glad we got the train, the train fatality for Omni-Man, because
Yeah.
like when my wife and I watched the trailer, when we started watching, I'm like, okay, all I want is the train. And she and I both love Invincible. She and I both love Mortal Kombat. And she's like, they're not going to do that. I'm like, I think they're gonna. It's too iconic for them not. And she's like, we'll see. And they did it, and I was so happy. I'm like, you gotta have the train. Because it's just so stupid. It's so over the top that you can't not have it, right?
Right.
I was telling her how, like, we're talking about Halloween and everything, and like, it's normal to see people dress up as various monsters and villainous entities like the devil or whatever. But if I saw someone dressed up as Omni-Man, I think I might actually try to avoid them. I think I'd be a little bit concerned because he's such a sociopath. I'm like, I don't, I don't think I want to dress up as someone like that. He takes it a little bit too far for me. But yeah, he's going to be a lot of fun in Mortal Kombat. Looking forward to seeing what they do with Homelander and the rest of them. But yeah, I knew we had to talk about that before the end of the show. All right, one more for now, and this is a funny thing, just a little bit of a grab bag one, but just I thought this would be fun to laugh about for a little bit. I don't know if you guys heard, but Wii U sales exploded in the month of September. Exploded, and by that I mean there was one Wii U sold in the U.S. in the month of September alone, and I am so genuinely.
I can't believe that was like they bought it new.
Right? I want to meet this person. I want to know the context. I want to know why.
To be fair, if I saw a brand new for MSRP Wii U sitting on a shelf, I'd probably pick it up because that'd be so weird. I mean,
just because it'd be weird.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's probably worth far more than MSRP already. Like, just hands down, if you saw one, you could probably buy it and sell it for far more than you paid for it because I think that the Wii U will go down in history as one of Nintendo's most valuable consoles because so few people bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yeah.
We all have one, so it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. It's just so interesting. I'd love to know, did they buy it as a collector's item? Did they buy it unironically? Like, it was so weird to hear that out of nowhere that the Wii U sold a single new unit. And I guess it's probably likeliest. That's the most boring outcome, is that someone just bought it as a collector's item. I was hoping it was something more like, no, they bought it because they either didn't know or because they really genuinely wanted it. But most likely, Steve, you're right, and it is just, yeah, they saw it and wanted to get it as a collector's item. That's probably true. But I like to believe that there's a more interesting reason than that. But anyway, we had a couple other things we could talk about, but Derrick's been in the tub for an hour. I want to keep us going here. We've got so many more super chats to read out, and then we've got our patron topics. So I want to get Derrick out of that poor tub, poor Derrick out of that tub as soon as we can.
Poor tub having to have me stew in it, and it's poor. Yeah. That's awful.
Exactly. All right. First off, we have got ESAX08 with $1.99. Thank you so much. Too many games and no time to play all of them. That is the story of 2023, my friend. You are so right. Too many games, not enough time. Thank you. Next up, Jacob Tucker with $2. Thank you so much. Asking us, have you seen Once Upon a Studio? I have not. What about you guys?
I've not even heard of it. I
have not had a chance yet.
I don't know what it is.
Kai hasn't really want to watch Disney Plus. He likes watching Mario stuff, so I haven't had a chance.
Oh, it's just a 12-minute short. I'll
give that a watch. Celebration of 100 years of Disney.
I'll check it out. I've never heard of it, but I'm always down for a nice little Disney short, so I'll check it out tonight after the show with my wife. Thank you for that, Jacob. Next up, Disney Duckin is back with $2 more, telling us that Omni-Man clearly took us for a train ride. Yes, he has, and he'll be taking plenty more people for train rides once he releases in a little bit. Next up is our good friend Aramis Bearmits. It's $20. Thank you so much, Aramis. Hey, GVG crew, have a great cast. Do any of you all ever get confused switching console controllers? Nintendo and Sony's green, blue, and red buttons are all in different places. The muscle memory just becomes terrible. And they also follow that up with another super chat for $2 saying, I was wrong about the red button. It's the same, my bad. But yes, in the general concept, Aramis, I do with Nintendo and Xbox, because I'm a Nintendo guy at heart, Nintendo and PlayStation guy at heart. I like Xbox, but the reversed ABXY placement for me in Xbox controllers always messes me up. I always have to do a double take when I switch from a Switch game to an Xbox game. I don't know. Is that the same for you guys?
Yeah, I have no trouble with Nintendo and PlayStation, but because I've barely played Xbox games, no, I'm in trouble.
I was gonna say that this is one of those things that I'm quite proud of. It never trips me up, and I swear to God, I'm not kidding, because literally everyone else I know has this, like, stumbles on these. Like, my brother has been playing games as long as I have, if technically not longer, and he still fumbles when he switches between platforms on occasion. I've just always been. I think it honestly is because of how many fighting games I played in the 90s. Because I was like a braggart, kind of a douchebag about it. Like, I'd be like, I'll beat you on whatever controller you put me on. And so I just had to make sure I always knew where the buttons were, because after you say that and you lose, it's not a good look.
Right. That's funny. Like you, Derek. PlayStation, I have no issues, but yeah, the Nintendo and Xbox Switch always, it never messes me up on the Nintendo side, but it definitely does sometimes on the Xbox side. So, yeah. Well, thank you for that, Aramis. Next up, we've got Shradbley with $7 Australian dollars and 99 Australian cents. Thank you very much. You never get to watch GVG live, and sadly won't this week, but I just got to say your pre-show theme is awesome at double speed. Well, I don't think I've ever listened to it at double speed. I'll have to do that. I am now curious. So thank you for that, Shradbley.
Certified banger. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically just the supersonic version.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it's the great. If you don't know already, Shradley, that's the great T. Lopes did all of our themes for our channel. So if you like it, definitely shout him out on Twitter and let him know how much you love his work, because he did it for us, and he is an amazing talent. Next up is Meerpat with $2. Thank you so much. Saying, working tonight, can't watch, but wanted to say hi. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for saying hi. Hello to you right back. Next up, Squire with $5. Thank you very much. More positive on Superstars in my top 20 Sonics, but it really feels like the 2D equivalent to Mario Sunshine. Base game mostly fine, but God, 100%. Yeah, and again, not going into spoilers, but I see you and I hear you, Squire.
I would put Superstars easily in my top 20 Sonics.
Top 20 is pretty. Yeah, that's a fairly low bar, right?
Yeah, I mean top 10.
Yep. I don't know about top
debatable.
10. I'd have to think about it.
Top 15 maybe. Top 15 maybe.
I'd have to sit down and have a strong, like a real hard think about my top 10 Sonic games, because I can't say for sure Superstars wouldn't make it, but I also can't say for sure that it would.
But yeah, I mean, just the game alone, like it. But when you go for 100%, it dips so hard. So hard, Steve. I got to have updates from you, man. DM me updates before it.
I'm going to try to beat Wonder tonight. And if I can beat Wonder tonight, like I'm hoping, roll credits on Wonder, not beat it, but roll credits on Wonder tonight. And if I can do that, then I'll go back to Superstars over the weekend and try to 100% it.
That's going to make trying to 100% Superstars feel even worse if you're coming off of Mario Wonder.
Right.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Next up, RecBCQ is back with $5. Thank you so much. I love that the talking flowers are essentially there to go, holy shit, what's happening, to everything the Wonder Flowers do. So far, that seems to be what they're doing, and yeah, I enjoy those reactions as well.
Love it.
Yep. And then one more super chat for now, again from RecBCQ with another $5. Thank you very much for your generosity. I got a photo at PAX East with an Omni-Man cosplayer where he was crushing my skull. That perfectly in character. That sounds about right.
If you're comfortable sharing that, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Please post it in our live audience chat if you can, if you're comfortable with it, because I'd love to see it as well. All right, well, that is all the super chats for now. Thank you again, everyone, for your generosity. We already gotten a couple more, and I will read those out toward the end of the show. But for now, it is time for our Patron topics. And as a reminder, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/GVGaming, where if you support us at the producer tier or above, you can suggest topics just like the ones we're about to discuss right now. Also, check us out right here on YouTube Members, because you can also get on this action that way as well. And Steve, why don't you go ahead and get us started this week, man?
Yeah, mine comes from one of our new executive producers, Zombie Joe, or JO3. I'm going to just assume that's Joe, though, like Leet speak for Joe. Yeah. Anyway, Zombie Joe writes, hey guys, I've been playing more Street Fighter 6 lately, and I'm having a blast playing as A.K.I. The thing is, though, my main is usually Juri. So this got me thinking, has there ever been a fighting game that introduced a new character that you ended up gravitating towards instead of your main? And that's a easy one for me. I've played, Street Fighter is kind of my main fighting game of choice, and I've been pulled away from Ryu in multiple different games over the years. In the Alpha series, I actually preferred Sakura if I was playing seriously, and Dan if I was messing around. In Street Fighter 3, I actually preferred Ibuki and Dudley to Ryu, just because they were so different. And in 4, I'll stop there because I could probably name somebody who pulled me away from my main and most. But Goken, if you don't know the history of Goken, he's Ryu and Ken's master and is based off of the very, very old EGM April Fool's joke about Shang Long existing in the game. So that to me was just so cool that I had to try him on principle, and he actually is a really solid character that I hope they bring back for 6, albeit with some adjustments. But yeah, plenty of times that's happened to me. Thanks for the question, and thanks for being a patron, an executive producer, no less.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very, very much. I'm still kind of figuring this out on my end. Derrick, do you have an answer to this yet? It's okay if you don't.
The one I can think of most, and I don't know if it's like pulling away from my main or whatnot, but it was me playing Blaze Blue for the first time.
Okay.
And I started out with I think it was Lychee. I started out with her, and then I gravitated toward Ragna. I was like, okay, this is sort of fitting. Then I went to Jin. I was like, okay, the ices was sort of working for me. I like the various ranges he has, and he can be annoying with all of that. And then ultimately found out I was actually really good with Rachel, which is not a character type I typically play. But yeah, that's that. I don't know if that's the same thing. Like a new character comes around, it's like, well, bye main or anything like that. The other closest one would be the introduction of Juri, because I was a I'm blanking on her name now. I feel so bad. Ibuki main in Street Fighter 4. And then Juri showed up. I'm like, oh, she's fun.
Speaking of fighting games, before I answer, RecBCQ did post their image in general. They can't post images in live audience chat, but they post their image of Omni-Man crushing their head in live in general. And I'm posting it in live audience right now so everyone can see. But this is the Omni-Man cosplayer doing the head crushing.
Good cosplay.
It's really good, right? I love it. So my answer to this question, I've got a couple. I'm a big Street Fighter. I mean, other than Smash, that's like my main fighting game series, of course. But I'm also a big Street Fighter fan. And I was a big Ken main from Street Fighter 2, all the various iterations of 2, and then Street Fighter 3 as well. But then once Street Fighter Alpha 2 hit, I became a big fan of Sakura. And of course, Sakura is not in Street Fighter 3, so I still main Ken in that game. But basically, as much as I love Ken, ever since Sakura was introduced in Alpha 2, I have been pretty much a Sakura main in every game she exists in. I didn't love her in Street Fighter 5, but I didn't love her design, I should say, in Street Fighter 5. But in general, Sakura pulled me away from Ken pretty handily. And then, of course, I got to mention Smash because it's me and it's Smash. I mean, Smash 4 introduced Mega Man, so it really didn't matter who my main before Mega Man was. I had some, like Toon Link was one of them. But it didn't really matter. Once Smash 4 introduced Mega Man, that was it. So yeah,
I never had a consistent main in Smash. I
know
the longest it ever lasted for me was Fox, because I liked Fox in 64, and then it turned out he was really good in Melee as well. Brawl, it was Captain Olimar of all things.
Oh, that's funny.
Wii U, it was Pit. And now Zelda for Ultimate.
My main in Brawl was Kirby, and I still love me some Kirby for sure. I'll play Kirby in every Smash game, but once Mega Man got into Smash 4, that was it. I was like, sorry, no longer main in Kirby. It's Mega Man for me all day. So yeah, but thank you for that topic. And Derrick, you are next, man.
Let me find it. I have a limited screen here, so let me try to pull it
I've got it in front of me if you need it.
Okay, I found it. Okay. This is from Clark, the Got Game Guy one, asking, I believe, another new patron, because I don't recognize the name.
Yes.
Are you playing anything just because it's spooky month? I'm doing this for the first time this year with 3 games I've never played before. I played through A Plague Tale: Innocence and Requiem, both were great. I also picked up Alan Wake Remastered from the PlayStation Store for $10, so I'll try that also. I just started the Haunted Train Yard section of Final Fantasy VII Remake last night, so I guess that fits too. So yeah, thanks for the good vibes. So, it's Halloween. It's fitting. I thought we'd go for the scary attempts, and I typically try to play some sort of scary game, typically through my streams, just to sort of emphasize that, just to have fun with it. And last year was Parasite Eve. Playing that. So that worked out pretty well. This year, I'm a little late getting to it, but I'm finally starting. this weekend. I will also be playing Alan Wake Remastered. I got it off the PlayStation Plus when it was available on
Nice.
that, and it's just like, you know what, the sequel's coming out. I was requested of me as part of my um, whole gimmick on Twitch, and let's check it out. And it's I mean, I don't know much about it other than Stephen King like author goes to cabin and gets haunted by shadow things. That's all I know. You
Okay.
need to have shine your flashlight on a thing in order to shoot it. That's all I know.
Huh. All right.
Interesting.
What about you, Steve? I know you're not a big fan of spoopy stuff. Do you do anything
I
for the month of October or
I
Halloween
do.
season?
I do.
Okay.
I usually play through Luigi's Mansion. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
as spooky as I'm willing to go. But I will be
Okay.
playing through Luigi's Mansion 3 probably on the week of Halloween, so next week. Um, just because that's my jam. I love those games. I used to play through the GameCube original every year, but 3 has kind of taken up. It's easier to play, right?
Uh-huh.
And I can play co-op with my kids on that. So yeah, probably gonna replay Luigi's Mansion 3 here coming up soon.
Nice, nice. All right.
Mhm.
For me, I don't really have a personal tradition of playing scary games in October or around Halloween. However, my wife and I have a shared month-long tradition of watching scary movies and scary shorts and TV shows and stuff in the month of October, just because Halloween is her favorite holiday, essentially. So I have no issue with Halloween. It's fine. It's perfectly cool with me. But she loves Halloween, so for her sake, we just dedicate the month of October to whatever we're watching or whatever shows we're working on. We'll take a pause and we'll only watch scary stuff. So we've been watching like scary movies and sometimes we'll play scary games where I'm trying to get her to start Fatal Frame: Mask of the Lunar Eclipse with me because I've been wanting to play that remaster for a long time and this is the perfect time to do it. We haven't quite had time yet. I'm hoping we still can, but yeah. So not me personally, but she and I both like to do watch scary things and stuff and kind of focus on scary stuff for the month of October, just out of love for her love of Halloween. So yeah, that's what we do. All right. My topic this week comes from Hustlebun. And Hustlebun, you asked, name a missable side quest that should not be skipped. I was talking to someone who just beat Chrono Trigger for the first time. They loved the music, the art, and the world, but didn't feel attached to the supporting characters. Then they then admitted that they skipped all the final character quests. This is hurting me as I read it, and barreled forward to the last area, making me realize how essential those missions are to the game's overall story. A more egregious one is how Chrono Cross hides the best character in the game behind the arbitrary choice of refusing to heal your poisoned friend, robbing you of a great character and an amazing side quest behind a strange choice. So tell me, what's a missable side quest that should never be skipped? Well, you already I'm already gonna to I'm gonna pull from the game that you already referenced, or one of the games that you referenced in your question, because to me, and I bet you're gonna agree with me, Steve, the one of the most important side quests I can't imagine anyone should ever skip is the Fiona's Forest side quest in Chrono Trigger.
Yep.
Nobody should play that game without playing that side quest as well. And I wouldn't dream of spoiling it for anyone who hasn't played it, but it involves multiple characters. It involves Robo and Luca primarily, and specifically what it adds to Luca's character and the moments that it kind of gives her and the glimpse it gives you into her past and into the trauma that makes her who she is in the present is so interesting and so arresting. And it is possible to fail the side quest. There are two ways that
Mhm.
side quest can go. And the first time I played it as a kid, I failed it and it scarred me. I still remember to this day how much it messed me up. And I think personally that some of Chrono Trigger's darkest, most intense, memorable moments are tied to that side quest. And it also so happens to be part or my favorite scene in Chrono Trigger, which is the campfire scene, is part of that side quest. So if you don't do that side quest, you're missing out on some cool boss fights, you're missing out on some cool new areas, but most importantly, you're missing out on some really important, interesting character development and my personal favorite scene in the game. So, yeah, Fiona's Forest and Chrono Trigger, that is the side quest that nobody should ever miss. What about you guys?
I'm trying to think of like story important side quests that really stand out to me as like necessary, like get into real weeds on things and how they kind of inform things. Um, I'll give two because for the more story side of things, not that I think anybody would actually skip this, but some people might be inclined to or not worry about it. But the Uni's Ascension quest from
Yes.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is damn near essential in my mind because it
Mhm.
actually wraps up some story sequence that they don't touch on again in the main story. It's like, oh, here's your capper. That's kind of nice to have. So I would consider that absolutely required. Yeah, very similar with Senna as well, where you get some of these quests that actually finish up uh, plot details.
Yeah.
Um, the other one for more gameplay sense and just because it's just fun, but also like not doing it, you come across and you feel awful for not doing it, and that's Majora's Mask, the Romani Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like that one's you got to at least do it once to make you feel better about that.
Yeah, and the Anju and Cafe side quest too.
Yeah. I wanted to choose just one, so I went with
Sure.
Romani over that.
Sure. What about you, Steve?
I'm going to go with one that's fully optional and doesn't really have implications for the story whatsoever. Um, Going back to Tears of the Kingdom, the side quest for Hudson and Ronson just
Oh, good
gutted
one.
me so hard. Like, I mean, you have to do it if you want to be able to build a house later on in the game. But their side quest, I won't go into details here, but if you're a
I don't know if I've
parent,
done this one.
if you're a parent, it is so hard not to cry at that side quest because it
Yeah.
goes into like Gerudo culture and what happens to Gerudo little girls when they come of age, and I couldn't. It just had me bawling.
Oh,
I was like,
I have done that one.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
That one's a really good one. Yep.
yeah, really rough. Really like adds a dimension to the world of Zelda, like in terms of the people outside of the main cast that you don't often get, you know, to see. And Nintendo is both really good and really bad at storytelling somehow simultaneously. But this was one of their better attempts within the Zelda universe to kind of give the people outside of the main characters some type of texture to their lives. And
Yeah.
if I had to go through that scenario, I wouldn't know what to choose. But just the fact that at the
Mhm.
very end of it, you know, the little bit of dialogue between Hudson and Ronson, and he's like asking her if he did okay, and she was like,
Hmm.
you did all right," and I was like, that's so true to how most fathers would behave in that scenario, like just barely hanging on. So yeah, great side quest, really showcases some of the best writing that Nintendo's EAD teams have done in the Zelda series, and one that a lot of people will probably miss on their way to kill Ganon.
Yeah, that's a
Mm.
good one, man. Good, yeah, good call. I too love that quest. I'm not even a parent, obviously, but that also it hit me. So I can't even imagine if you're a parent how much harder it hits. So yeah, that's a great one. Well, thank you for that topic, Hustle Bun. And really quick, Wataniac asked me a question for his topic that I'm just going to mention very briefly. If you already know, I had my phone stolen recently. It sucks, boo-hoo. I'm thankful to have been able to get another one so quickly. So to answer your question, I got an iPhone 15, which basic iPhone 15, not a Pro, not a Max, nothing like that. Basic white blue iPhone 15. It's a good phone. It's like the iPhone 11, but faster and better. What else is there to say? But if you're
It's a
curious, that's the new phone
phone.
I got. Sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, I just said it's a phone.
It's a phone. It's yeah, exactly. I would not have upgraded if I didn't have to, but you know, when your phone gets stolen, you have to. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much for all those Patreon topics, everybody. Please do check us out both on Patreon or on YouTube members right here if you'd like to suggest topics for us to discuss, just like the ones we just did. And now we've got a couple more super chats to read out, and then we're going to go head on to our patron exclusive post show. First off, we've got a pair of super chats from Mocha the Orange Bear for $2 each. Thank you. There are two matchups. First, we've got Gino from Super Mario RPG versus Mighty the Armadillo from Sonic.
Probably
Ah,
Gino.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'd
think
go
it's
with
got to be
Gino.
Gino, right?
He's got the
Like,
power of the stars.
yeah, and like Mighty has spike immunity to a degree. Like he can bounce off spikes, but I mean, yeah, Gino's got the power of the stars. So, and I'm not even one of those guys who's like Gino's such an amazing character. I think he's fine, but I still think he wins this matchup pretty handily. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't
Okay.
know, you know, it's Gino all the way. I don't
It's
know.
a sweet Regino.
I can't imagine Mighty doing much.
Yeah. And then we've got Freddy from FNAF versus Huggy Wuggy from Poppy's Playtime. I have no clue because I have not played either of these games.
If I'm thinking of what I'm thinking of with Huggy, I'm only vaguely familiar with that one. I think Huggy is honestly really a freakier design.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I'll
have
go
to
with
agree.
that.
I'm looking him up. I mean, like Huggy has like rows of teeth, like a shark, and like a big old long tongue and stuff. From what I'm seeing, it's definitely the scarier thing. I'd go for Huggy.
Right.
Not that I
Right.
know the abilities of either.
Yeah, I
To
don't
be
know what they can
honest.
do, but as far as design's concerned, I think.
Yeah, I guess looking at them, I'm thinking, yeah, probably Huggy Wuggy is creepier. I don't know anything about their abilities, though, of course. So, yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Next up, we've got Disney Duncan with $5. Thank you so much. 1 week till the Five Nights at Freddy movie. Me and my sister are really excited. Happy to hear that. I don't really have any existing
I've been
experience.
shanghaied into seeing it. My sister bought tickets for
Yeah.
my kids and me to go because she
Your kids
wanted.
want to see it? Wow.
Yeah, Avery likes FNAF, so I guess I'm gonna go see it.
I guess that's why they made it PG-13 is so kids could see it.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I'm not expecting a whole lot though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't really have any existing experience with it. It's not really something I'm interested in, but for all the FNAF fans out there, including you, Duncan, I hope it delivers in every
Yeah.
way that you and your sister want it to. Yeah. And then 2 more super chats from Duncan. Thank you so much. 1 statement and 1 question. First off, it's Spider Mario Stars Day. It sure is, and that's what we've been celebrating all day here on GVGcast. And I'm pretty sure we're all going to go right back to Mario Wonder once we're done with the show. And then next up, you're asking, could Harley Quinn come to Mortal Kombat 1? I sure hope so. I think that'd be badass. I mean, if Joker can be a guest character, why not Harley, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I can see
Harley
it.
would fit in with the anti-hero characters they have, or the villain hero characters that they have in this
Right.
this lineup so far.
I'd
So
love
it
to
fits-
see her as part of like a season 2. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. How like Mortal Kombat 11 had like all the like 80s action heroes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that is the very last super chat out of many, many super chats. Thank you all so much, as always, for your incredible generosity. That does, in fact, bring us to the end of episode 78 of the GVG Cast. But before we head out, I do want to let you all know next week's GVG Cast is going to be at a special time because John's going to be back. John is finally going to be back on a GVG Cast, and guess what? He's going to be in the tub. It is his turn in the tub. But of course, he has a much different time zone being over there in the UK. So next Friday's GVG Cast is going to be at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and 3 p.m. UK time. I know for those of us in Pacific Standard Time, that's a really rough ask, but it's going to be worth it because he's going to be in the tub, so you don't want to miss that. I will not be here. I'm going to be in Vegas next weekend because I'm watching my amazing, incredible wife walk for her 2nd bachelor's degree. She's so incredibly smart, so I'm going to be doing that. So enjoy John in the bathtub. That's what's happening. Remember, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. British Summer Time. And that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. We, as always, have to give a special shout out to all of our producers all of our patrons, at the producer tier above for helping to keep the lights on here because we couldn't do all this without you. Thank you so very much. And as always, we have to give an extra special shout out to all of our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those fine, amazing, incredible folks include Brandon Bovia, Cutie Caitlin, Fangs, Z Patty, Sky Blue Flames, Eastman 23, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Logan Daniel, The D-Pad, Blake, Joy Content, Angel Martinez, Vedron, Joshua Hunter, Benny Yao, Azran127, Black King, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Wataniac, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Andrew Medeiros, Darchi, Becca, Michael McCaw, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber CPHT, Too Much Spaghetti, Bane 400, Ascaron 809, Ryaner, Rain in Clouds, The Game Orb, Super Gamer Dude 101, Grantles, Ravelox, Rosa Pardo Bowling,
Hi, Mom.
Skull Kid Tiger, Darksteel 01, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Cystic Warrior 29, DJ Jurassic, Derrick, Colin, Mumbling Yeti, Cameron Sharp, Keel, Brendan Hesse, Hustlebun, Noah Fitterer, Calvin Atkinson, Brainchild, the entire state of Wisconsin, Jim Wakeland, Longboy Shiggy, Aramis Baramis, Kyle the Monarch, Dat Alpha Lion, Lord Metarex, Blaze Collard, Eric, Cat Evie Person 5, Peyton Thiel, Mega Beatman True Blue Reviews, Jung Ant, Ryan Hanley, The Game Jamie, Alex, and last but certainly not least, our newest executive producer, Zombie Joe. Thank you all so much. Have an amazing weekend playing Mario Wonder, Sonic Superstars, Spider-Man 2, hopefully all 3 of them, and we will see you next Friday for our special earlier episode of GVGcast. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time. Good night and good vibes. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.